Hey, what's going on, guys? So, I'm gonna give y'all the breakdown on what I see on the market today, y'all. Morning, happy Friday. It's February 6th, 35 a.m. Central Time. And first thing I want to do is say hi, good morning. I hope everyone's having a good day. And let's make some money and look at some good areas for entering and exit. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover the camera and we're gonna get focused here on what we see with the charts today. Um, I hope everybody's having a good morning. And I hope you got your coffee in you and your Bible in you. Thank you, Jesus. Let's go ahead and start mapping out the charts. Oh, what's up, Richard? Did Richard get on? Do I got my one viewer? Okay. Well, as long as I got my one viewer, I'm good. No, I'm playing, guys. All right. So, what do we have today? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to do a little bit of texting as well. Just getting going here. So, we've been trending up all night. I saw last night we held for an hour on the VWAP right here. Okay. So we had this hour hold from 6:24 to 7:30, slightly over an hour. Okay. And price was, holding above middle VWAP. So every time we can hold above middle VWAP, in this case, an hour, we slung shot right up in the 200 EMA was coming down like so, how my cursor's moving. And so we ended up, boom, powering right over that 200 EMA right here. And then the rest is history. And then we've just been grinding all the way up. This was I believe, 10 o'clock. Yeah, 10 o'clock hourly candle. And I believe this is the 6 o'clock. So let's go ahead and map that one out right now so we know where that is. And we do have a lot of retracement here, guys. So we're definitely going to be drawing the fib today to see if we can hold above the 6 o'clock. Here it is, right? Boom. 6. Oh, so 6 up here. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to mark out this 6 o'clock area. Okay. Oh, there's already a line right here too. You know what? I'm just going to use this line, guys. Since there's already a line. Isn't that so funny how that works? There's already a line where our 6 o'clock is, which tells you we are mapping out the key levels properly. So now we're in this range right here, guys. Okay, this little baby range. Here's our 6 o'clock. So rule of thumb is if we can't hold above the 6 o'clock today, okay, the top of the 6 a.m. candle, then we continue to flush down. However, if we can hold above it, then most likely we're going to retrace to 50 to 61.8% Fibonacci is typically what happens. So what I'm thinking if we can get a nice pullback, if we are going to keep this trend, if we can get a nice pullback into this bottom zone here this morning, come all the way down and slingshot back up and hold, this would be, you know, your A1 buy area, 24,300. However, today we want to wait for that confirmation, and every day we want to wait for that confirmation to make sure that we do get that hold and that higher high over um, those candlesticks when we get down here, okay? And we will go over that as it happens this morning, and we will be patient, um, during that time on trade. However, being that it is Friday, markets do like to trend on Friday, meaning that we may not have that opportunity for it to come all the way down here. It's possible that price just comes here just slightly under VWAP, okay, or -1 standard deviation, and we don't get all the way, down here. And then we can, in this situation, you come down real quick, you hold, and you bounce back up. In that case, okay, you got to be ready for that quick action if that does decide to happen today. Okay, and then would um, what you would look for if that does happen in that scenario is that when you do come back up into this area, you don't start rejecting, because if you can't get past this zone, okay, then you're not going to continue upward. All right, guys, so let's go ahead. Oh, let me flip that around and let's make the fib. Okay. So what we're going to do to make this fib line, guys, is we are going to come all the way up here to the top of this drop, and we're going to get the Fibonacci right there at 100% at the top. Let's zoom in to really make sure that we are getting the top accordingly. Alrighty, guys. Boom. So we got here, and then we're going to drag this all the way down to the bottom. There. Perfect. So when you take the fib and you pull it all the way to the top of this down draw, and you pull it all the way to the bottom, assuming that this is where we bottomed out, okay, typically you get these zones in between where price, when you're holding, you tend to magnitude up to these zones, okay? And in this situation, okay, since this is the first kind of bottoming of this fib, of this whole down draw, typically we come all the way up into the 61.8, okay? And it actually lines up pretty close to our upper VWAP band for February 4th and our 6 o'clock candle, more or less. Okay. So that tells me that if we are going to reject, a good rejection area would be around here. Okay. Or a little bit past it into this zone. Okay, will be some good rejection areas for sales. Okay, so I'll definitely be, looking for the buy to come up into these zones and be taking profit here. Because rule of thumb is if we are going to continue up, we're going to need to hold this zone and push higher. So typically in this situation, we go all the way up here and then we'll have a pullback and then we'll just range, in here for a while until price figures out, what's it going to do, and typically, if it's going to move upward, it will probably do some sort of manipulation down and hold, right around the 50. Most likely this blue line, and then boom, back up. And I would assume if you don't hold this blue line right here, this zone, okay, I would assume that it's just gonna come all the way down here as long as it stays under this price right there, okay? So that's how I'm gonna look to trade these zones for today into Monday or Sunday night session, okay? Alrighty. I hope that's making sense for everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. Um, let's see here. Okay, I think Richard. I got my guy Richard on. Awesome. So, do I need to repeat that, Richard? The whole market setup of what's happening. I don't mind. I can go over it again. Okay. All right, let me go over this again, man. All right, check this out. So, I'm going to repeat this for my viewer. I got a viewer, my boy. All right, Richard. So, check this out, my guy. This is what's happening in the market. Okay, last night we had right here above this middle VWAP, okay, for 1 hour from 6:25 to 7:30, okay? And since it was able to hold this middle VWAP for an hour last night, what happened was, you see this yellow line? This yellow line was actually right here. It was coming down like this, boom, right like that. We held an hour and then boom, we were able to explode over the 200 that was right here last night. And ever since then, the VWAP right here has been the bounce area. Boom. We held support. Every time you're above this VWAP, you go up. So what we want to look for today when market opens, okay, we want to look for price to come down. And even if it's coming down here, we don't want to hurry up and get into a buy. We want to wait. We want to see, does price come down and bounce off really quick? Because if it does and it moves off of this pretty quick, I would put a buy. I would try to get a buy into this zone and a stop loss. However, if it's within the first 15 minutes of market doing that, just know the first 15 minutes of market open, the market's going to go like this anyways. So if it does bounce off real quick, just know within the first 15 minutes of market open, you need to be selling at these zones, okay? Because it could easily come back down and come lower, okay? So after the first 15 minutes, I like to say, then you can really start to see where price is and start looking for a longer hold of a trade. The first 15 minutes, I don't even recommend beginners to trade. But if you do trade and you're practicing and you're on a demo, then just know the first 15 minutes, you need to just get in and out of a trade within like 30 seconds to a minute. That's about it. Okay. And you sell at your zones. You really don't want to be holding longer than a minute or 30 seconds because there's so much manipulation in the first 15 minutes. A price just boom, 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 boom. So you really don't want to mess with it. But I think some of the best zones to get into buys, since we are kind of trending up, is going to be this is going to be a good zone. Okay, if we come down and we keep holding this pattern and bouncing, okay, maybe it comes a little bit lower, because price moves fast when market opens. So this will be a good zone to look for, and then also around this purple line, okay, because we have our standard deviation lines right here. We got one band, or they call them bands. We got the lowest band, we got the lower band, the middle band, the upper middle band, the purple, and then the upper outer band. Okay. So typically when you're in an uptrend, you stay in these two bands. Okay. If you do drop out of it, you hold on the VWAP and then power back up. Sometimes if you drop out of it and you power to this band, sometimes you'll reject and then you'll start to range in here and then slowly start to melt down if you can't get above this band. So always know if you are going to trend upward, when you do break out of these two bands, when you do break out of this bottom purple band, just know you have to get back up above the purple band to continue the trend upward. Otherwise, you'll just go sideways like this or start to head down. You have to be in these upper two bands to trend up. You have to be in these lower two bands to keep going downward. Okay. Um, what happened is we've been dropping, okay. We've had this drop right here. Let's go back to the 15-minute. And I got this Fibonacci. So 100%, and then we got 0% at this bottom. And typically what happens in this situation is if this is the bottom and we hold here, typically we trend all the way up to 61.8 all the time. Okay, sometimes you'll get some hesitation right around 50, sometimes you don't, but when we get to this area, then we'll have a pullback and then we'll start to range. Because if you can't hold above this 61.8 level, whether it's today or Monday, okay, because we may just come up here today and just do this and finish the day, and then come Sunday, market open, 5 o'clock, into Monday. In order for us to continue higher, we have to hold above here, because what I've noticed over the years is that if you don't hold above here in this particular down draw, then from here you'll start to head back down. And how we can know if that's true is when when we come down here and we can't hold this level. So when we drop under this level and try to come up and we reject and we're not getting above here, then 100% that that's it. We're going to head all the way back down into these areas to see if we can hold. And if we don't hold this level right here, this is a huge level, because this level, we can't hold here. We're going to drop all the way down to here into here. Okay. And then this is another huge level. Like this, if we drop under 23,046, okay, or let's just say 23,000, if we drop under this and we can't get above, dude, we ain't never getting back up here, man, for a long, 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 long time. Because this drop is, I mean, you're just gonna keep falling all the way down for a long time. Okay, so this is an extremely important level, and I believe all the big hedge funds and everybody's looking at this level because the minute we drop under this level, it's over, man. The market's going to be crashing for a long time, I think. It's not until you hold, if you drop under this level, it's not until you get back up above that we can start to go, upward. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, another important thing that I want to show you is if you go to the hourly, okay, we go to the hourly. This is very important because this is something I have noticed. Oh, this is the top of your 6 o'clock candle. How do I know? Because if you look all the way down here at the bottom of my screen, it says 6 a.m. So this is the 6 a.m. candle. That means that from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., you get your 4-hour candle on the New York time session, okay? So you get your first 4-hour candle of the New York time session. And so typically what happens is if we hold above this price, we go up. If we hold below this price, we go down. This is a very important level right now to know where the market's going to go, up or down. And if you stay like this, like we did yesterday, okay, you just range. If you're just going up and down, and you're really not expanding, and say like you're up here for an hour, then you come back down here for an hour, and you're up here. So it's already been like, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're still around this price, then you're just gonna range, kind of like what we did yesterday. Okay. Sometimes that can happen as well. And that actually happened really well yesterday, where you had that range and then sell off at the end of the day. Okay, so let me get back here to my I like 2 minutes looking mighty fine today. Okay, so we got our FIP. So the game plan is, this is the game plan for today. The game plan is watching this key level right here, your 6 a.m. candle, okay, and seeing if we can hold above it to continue up to the 61.8 retracement. Okay, overall, we are short term bullish, and I do think it's time for price. Actually, yesterday I really thought it was time for price to go up, but today, I mean, it's looking more and more likely for price to go up because we just had such a big sell off over the past, 3 or 4 days. It's just been, pretty vicious. So this is a good time for price just to kind of grind up and retrace. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of hedge funds, and a lot of people have been buying, into this sell off here. So that's going to help bring the prices and bring the futures markets back up. Okay, so all we're doing this morning, market's about to open in 30 minutes. Okay, and we're going to see, how we react around this area, if we're going to hold, or if we're going to dip down, into this zone. Okay. However, if we do get down into this lower band area, okay, if we do get down into here and we even touch this band, say price comes all the way down and even touches, this band, I'm going to assume that it's likely that we could just keep dropping. We may drop into here or maybe into here before we get a swing upward. Okay, because if we're gonna hold this trend upward, honestly, we don't want to get lower than this line right there. We really don't want to get lower than that line. We really just want to boom and really bounce hard off of here, because if not, I mean, it could get a little iffy around here. I'm not saying that it can't just power up real quick from here, but you have a lot of rejection zones where it could reject here, 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 whatever. Okay. So the lower we get into this band, the more likely that we're going to come into here, into here. Okay. However, um, I don't think that's going to happen. It could. Let me see what my AI says. Let me see what the AI says here. Oh my God. Again, so I have given AI about 33 commands on what to look for when looking at market structure. And so let's just see what he says about the probabilities and if they align with what we're seeing here. Boom, 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 boom. So higher time frame, dominant structure, bias is down, liquidation leg, clear impulse. So what we're in right now is not a new uptrend. This is a counter trend, corrective rally, classic relief bounce. Think stage 2, stage 3 transition, not bull market. Where we are, the price bottom, capitulation, volatility, expansion. The bounce is riding the short EMAs, and EMAs are these moving averages right here in the middle. So it says the 61.8 retracement is the full bull trap. So that's what we were saying here is that this is the rejection area. We know that. Okay, and that's why this area is so important, because if we can hold above it, then the trend will continue to go up. Momentum improved only because selling pressure paused. No clean higher high structure. Okay, we know that. 25K, not distribution. What else? At what price? Yes. Bull market. All right. So basically, AI is AI is looking at the same things we are. He's still in bearish mode, and most importantly, Richard, if you go to forexfactory.com, okay, forexfactory.com, we have your 9 a.m. consumer sentiment report. So typically what happens when these bigger reports come out is market kind of chops around here before making a big move. Okay, and so at 9 o'clock, keep that in mind, because where the market starts to head at 9 o'clock Central Time, or sorry, 9 o'clock, what time? 9 o'clock Eastern Time. 9 o'clock Eastern Time, okay, which is now, then typically you can start to dictate, okay, where the trend is going to go. And so it is 9 o'clock right now, and I don't see no big heavy movement. And typically on those red folders, you do get a lot of heavy movement there. And nothing. Let's see what chat says about the report here. Let's get the word on this report. Whoops, wrong thing. Let's see here. Doom, doom, doom. What's the numbers on this? Information on the sentiment, consumer sentiment report. Boom, 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 boom. So here's the breakdown. The impact is high. What does this mean? Higher consumer feels confident. All right, so it's good. It's a good report. We feel confident. Real market mover. Okay, 1 year inflation expectations in 5 years. Expectations look good. We're looking deflationary. It's only bearish for the NQ when the inflation expectations jump, yield spike, NQ sells off. So typical market behavior, first 30 to 90 seconds. Well, that's already passed. So nothing to fear there. And so that leads us to believe even more so that we're going to continue to have this trend upward. Okay. So those are good things to keep in the back of your mind. The consumer is happy about inflation and the prices are starting to go down. We do got a new Fed chair coming in. Powell's getting removed, and the new guy's going to cut interest rates. And word on the street is he doesn't like to print money. So I think that's good. Okay. And that's what's going on currently with that report. And let's see, I always like to turn on Fox Business News. So let me get the Fox Business News rolling on here and see what they're actually saying about this report as well. And if we look at the ES, see ES, okay. I like to look at ES because ES, matches sometimes, most of the time, the NQ. However, sometimes ES can make a move upward before NQ does, which creates a divergence, and you can kind of have a good idea of what the NQ is going to do next when that happens. So, yep, that's what they're talking about on the news, lower prices. So that matches the consumer report here. So definitely is matching up. I do want to exit this short here. Why do I want to exit this short? Let me explain my reasoning. Okay, let's go to the 2 minute. Let's go to the 1 minute. You see this double bounce here on that? That's why. We bounce here, we bounce there. So typically this thing just starts to shoot up here on this situation. Okay, we should have just kept dropping here, but it didn't. It held support, and then now it's gonna start to squeeze upward, okay, and make this W. So look, you got 1 and 2. It did not drop. It should have dropped here. Okay, this one made a higher. They started making higher lows. Okay, so because of that, I wanted to get into a buy. and just let this thing, you know, see if we can keep going up higher here. Okay. And your stop loss in this situation, okay, you want to put your stop loss right under these. And if you wanted to give it a little more room to run, you can do something like that as well. Okay. So you get stopped out on this one here, and then at least you'll have one more to keep it going up. But in this situation, in this pattern, typically we keep it going upward for the time being. However, it is 8:10 a.m. So knowing that, price typically tends to just kind of chop around too. So doesn't mean that it can't go up and keep going up. It can. And maybe even market open, we don't even go down and we just shoot right up. It will all depend on if you can hold above here. Okay. So that means if we do have that scenario, what's going to happen is this: we'll power up, you probably get into this zone, and then you'll come down and hold. And if that happens when market opens here in 19 minutes, then this is going to be your buy area right around here, on maybe a little bit below this line. Okay, so it'll go and then power back up. But what would have to happen is at 8:30, okay, we go power up, and then we come down and hold. Don't buy this power up and chase it into here. Don't do that. Just let it go and then wait for it to come back down and then buy here, because it will come back down. It will come back down and retest that zone. Okay. It always does. It always does. It always does. And if it doesn't, okay, then it will test around this zone or on a VWAP or one of these lines. But most likely, if it happens like that in the morning, most likely it's going to come back down and retouch that zone. There's maybe like a 20%, I would say 15, probably 12 to 15% chance that it doesn't. That it just keeps running and running and running. And then all these bands go upward, and then it will eventually come down and it will retest this or VWAP. Okay. And maybe, those lines will be like around here or something at that time. And it doesn't necessarily come all the way down, but it gets close, if that makes sense. Okay. In between these two zones, okay, like where we're at right now, it always tends to chop in here. Okay. But once it breaks up out of here, then, boom, we can start heading up. If it breaks down underneath here, then if you can't hold a level, then what happens? Then you go down. And that's what all these lines are that I have. Well, not this one. This line is where I entered on the trade, since I have this 5 right there. Okay. But these lines, okay, these lines that I can grab and move, these are support levels and resistance levels. So typically, if you can't hold a certain level here, okay, then you go down to the next one. Like when we were coming up here, okay, we broke through, we couldn't hold, we came back down into this zone. It held, powered through, came back down into this zone. It held, powered through almost, and then couldn't hold above the 200. So it come back down into here to find support. Okay. So if you have a question, if there's something else you want me to explain, put it in here. Okay. What I Do I recommend trading um, on demo for practice when you're not really actually trading? Yes, I recommend it all the time. So you can just always keep practicing and entering trades and that sort of thing. Now, on your real account, on your live, on your evals, on your fundeds, I never recommend trading before the first 30 minutes of market open because you always, man, you always get this chop. Okay, you always get this chop. It's like almost guaranteed that you're gonna chop the first 30 minutes, or first 30 minutes before market open. Now, another strategy that a lot of people like to do is they take the 15-minute candle. Since I'm on the 15-minute right here, see it says 15-minute. So they take this candle right here that just now started to form, okay, and they wait um till 8:45. Okay, so this 15-minute candle, it will take from 8:15 to 8:30 to complete. So this candle right here behind it, it took 15 minutes. This candle took 15 minutes. This candle took 15 minutes. And if you look all the way down to the bottom of my screen, you see it says 7:30, 7:45, 8, and then this is going to say 8:15. Okay. And so what people do for Friday strategy, they'll do like pretend that this candle right here was the 8:15 candle, and then this was um, the 8:30 candle. Okay. So since this candle was bigger than this one, like it engulfed it, so this whole red took out this green right here. So they would assume that the market's going to go down for the whole day because of that. I think it works like 70 to just under 80% of the time that happens. Okay. And so when this candle is done forming, what you'll do is you'll look at this candle and then you'll look at the second candle that finishes at 8:45, and whichever one, okay, engulfs one another, then okay, that's going to be the direction of the market movement. And so then from there, you'll start to look for, then you'll zoom into your, 2 minute or 3 minute, and you'll start to look for good zones to enter on, a buy or a sell. Okay. So if you look at the 15-minute, we are rejecting right here at the 200 EMA. So it's actually making perfect sense with our 6 a.m. Candle right here. So again, if you can hold above here, which will be your 200 EMA on the 15-minute, then totally makes sense. You're going to trend up. Totally. So this is going to be a huge, huge, huge key area. Um, so are we going to hold here and go up? Are we going to dip down into here and, give us some better entries for buys and hold? Or are we going to come here and hold? Okay, because these are going to be your main two areas you want to hold. Okay, not lower than here if we want to keep going upward. The minute we can't hold this and we touch this, like I said, it gets real iffy on if we're going to, you know, keep going up to that 61.8% on the Fib. Okay, your chances are less likely. I'm not saying it can happen, but the chances just become less likely of happening. And you have a higher chance of selling off for the day. And then also your 15-minute candle too. You would have a huge, maybe 30-minute or 15-minute candle, depending on how fast it moves, down into that zone. And so if you're doing the TGIF strategy, which is the first uh, pre-market 15-minute candle, and then the second one that finishes at 8:45, because every candle's formed every 15 minutes, and you're gauging it like that, then um, those are strategies that you can have in the back of your mind when you're trading. Like, oh well, it did that, it did this. Typically, almost 80% of the time, it's going to move in this direction. Okay, so market's about to open in 10 minutes. I never, ever recommend trading market open. I never do well trading market open, only sometimes if I really see something that, I'm like, have a high percentage chance of it working, then I will do it with some tight stops. But I'm always taking profit pretty quick. And I've already mapped out certain buy and limit orders. So I have a buy and limit order, I think right here on my row charts. Okay, I have it right here just under the VWAP. Okay, and then I have my stop just here at 39, sorry, at 39.14. So I have my stop at 39.14 right now on my real accounts, and I got a buy right here at 24,574 because I know if we get into this area, we will have a little bounce, okay? And maybe it will be the bounce and just, keep going all the way up, but I'll know once we can hold above, this zone. If not, I'll get the buy and I'll sell out here if it starts to reject. But this is where my first buy is. However, if market opens and price is just moving so fast, and I know like, oh, there's no way it's gonna hold, even though I have a buy right here, I'll s- I'll move it. I'll grab it like this and I'll move it, and I'll probably move it, into here if that happens. Like if just price just starts falling real fast and there's just huge red candles that open, then I will adjust it and I will move it right here to 24,458 more or less. Okay. That would be my next kind of area that I'll look for buys. If price is just moving way too fast at market open. Okay, so that's going to be the strategy. It is rejecting right here, so I'm going to exit that trade. You are getting luck. We got one rejection, two rejection, three rejection. So um, I don't like that for what is that? I don't like that for buys. All those rejections right there. Just a lot of rejections already. And then if you notice, these things are curling downward and upward, so it's consolidating. And usually when these uh, Bollinger Bands get real small like this, then they'll expand and get big, and there'll be a big move either up or down. Okay, so you see how they get real small right here, and then boom, then they expand out. That's what's happening right now. They got real small, and then now you're going to get an expansion, in the market open or whatever. So, well, we keep rejecting. We reject. Okay. So since this is demo, um, we'll go ahead and play it like that. And we're gonna just um, say market's gonna tank a little bit in the beginning uh, because the buyers want to get in, and I'm sure. Uh, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty confident. There we go. Yeah. that there's a lot of buy orders down there by the VWAP. Okay, I'm pretty confident there's a lot of buy orders down here because people don't want to chase this price way up here. And so the market is going to go towards where there's a lot of buy orders to keep, pushing the market forward or whatever. And so I was able to get this trade a little right short term because we had these little rejections right here. Okay. And so this could be the area it bounces, but if it doesn't hold here, okay, and bounce up, which I don't think it will, then we're going to continue to flush down into this zone. Okay. Now let me pull up my other charts, make sure my trades are looking good. I'm not sure if you can see my charts over here on this side. On this side of things. Dun, dun, dun. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Yep. We're looking good. We're looking good, guys. We are looking good. Well, hey, Richard, I'm going to go ahead and call you real quick, man. Just get you on the line to see if you have any questions, my guy. Hey, bro, master.
Yeah, my bad, dude. My cousin had me doing some shit, so I wasn't really watching.
Oh, I did all that talking. That's okay, because you can go back
I watched a lot of it. I'm saying like the last 5 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you can always go back and watch it. I explained a lot of my thinking of what I'm seeing on the charts and why it's happening and what's going to happen and my predictions and what to look for. So I hope it helps you get a better idea on how to map out areas and how to find good trades and stuff. But just right now, I got a buy down there just under VWAP. I think there's a lot of buy orders down there. Usually people don't want to chase, price up here when it's been trending up. So in order for price to continue to move up, it needs I think it needs some more buy orders to kind of push it up to that 61.8%, fib.
I'll call you later. My dad's calling.
All right, I will see you back.
Midnight coffee. Midnight coffee in his hand, charts all over the table, says he's got a master plan. Crumbs all over the counter, leftovers on every plate. Fridge door open like a spotlight. Yeah, he loves to stay up late. My dad, man, the midnight king, snacking while the trade bells ring, laughing at the numbers fly, rubbing sleep out of his eyes. My dad, man, he's wired all night, kitchen light is way too bright. He's our chaos, he's our crew. That's my dad, that's what he do. He says, Noah, clean this mess up when the living room's a wreck. Grumpy voice from the hallway, hands on hips, veins in his neck. You'll stomp around in his slippers, talking tough to prove he's stronger. But
play that back.
Matt's got fire, he's glowing. Midnight coffee in his hand, charts all over the table, says he's got a master plan. Crumbs all over the counter, leftovers on every plate. Fridge door open like a spotlight. Yeah, he loves to stay up late. My the trade bells ring, laughing at the numbers fly, rubbing sleep out of his eyes. My dad, man, he's wired all night, kitchen light is way too bright. He's our chaos, he's our crew. That's my dad, that's what he do. He says, Noah, clean this mess up when the living room's
All right, guys, we are dropping down. Okay. Are we going to hold support there, or do we go lower? Interesting. All right. Again, it's still the first minute of market open, so don't trust anything you see right now. Just wait, be patient. I mean, definitely think we're going to come down lower here. Let's get down here to VWAP and see if we can hold VWAP. Okay. You know, typically, if price is going to continue down, you really don't want it to go higher than this area right here, 24,823. This would be like the highest amount of area you want it to go before it rejects down. Otherwise, after this, it's just gonna fire up, guys, pretty much, typically, but we do got like a nice kind of like, slow kind of looking bleed down here to VWAP like we predicted. And so let's see, I think it's definitely going to flush through this 24,700. We just broke this little trend line from last night, so we'll let it keep coming. We were 2 minutes into market open. So if you are trading this, guys, I'm not yet. Just make sure you take your profits because it does like to just kind of jig around. So if you're in the green, take them quickly, 30 seconds to a minute. Don't be holding your trades longer, than that. And know your bounce areas. Like, look, I got a bounce area right here. Okay, where'd it bounce? Right there. Where is it going up to? Right there. Look, this thing wants to fly. It doesn't even want to go to VWAP maybe. Or maybe it just rejects right there. So there's a lot of manipulation. Okay, so, sir. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Sir. Yo. Okay, you're back.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But
Okay.
dude, you're not that live, bro.
Why?
I can hear myself like 2-3 minutes later in the background on my feed.
Really?
Yeah. But I think that's just because we're on the phone with each other. Maybe before it was a lot closer.
Yeah, possibly. Okay, so what's happening right now is it's trying to get above this 6 o'clock candle area, and I really wanted to get a trade under VWAP, so I'm waiting. I don't want to chase up here. But if price does extend up here, I'm going to talk on if you're watching the channel, let me talk on the channel so it doesn't distract you.
Are you dancing right now on the channel?
Oh, yeah.
So how far of a delay is that?
Oh, you take your live, go to and fast forward it all the way to the front.
Liz?
Okay, can you forward it further ahead?
I think I'm all the way up, man.
All right, let me explain what's happening on the channel, man, so you don't hear that delay over the phone and stuff, okay? All right.
Yeah, you're like a couple seconds off.
Not too bad. All right, let me explain this on the channel, bro. All right, Richard, so what's happening right now, bro, is we came up here. we're rejecting at the 6 a.m. candle area, okay? Hopefully to get down to VWAP, okay? Hopefully. So as long as we hold under here, we should come back down strong to VWAP. And this is where I have my buy, okay? I'm waiting down here to get a buy. I think this is a really good area to get a buy. And if you notice, this is starting to point upward strong, okay? And like I was saying this morning, in order for us to keep going up, okay, and to have a nice move up, we need to hold above this level. Okay, this is a very important level right here. And if you go to the 15-minute, it's where the 200 is, the 200 EMA. See right here? This is very important level, this 200, because typically above that, you go up, and below it, you go down. Okay, let me get, now I'm back on the 1 minute. Okay, let's zoom out. Let me zoom out. Come back here. Boom, boom, boom. Now, if you look, Richard, look what happened. What did we do? Market opened. We came down. We held support here on my zone. We came all the way back up to this zone. We're rejecting. And as long as we don't hold above the 1 minute 200, as long as it doesn't hold here, then we'll keep falling into this zone. Okay. So that's what I'm waiting on right now for my trade, because I don't know if you can see my other screen over here. I don't think you can, but this is where I have my buy right here. I got my buy here, and I got my stop at 39. Okay, that's where mine is, because I think that would be a really good level for us to get in. However, you see how it's starting to hold right here? So if this makes a higher high and goes up, I'm not going to chase it. Then the strategy will change a little bit, okay? But we got to wait at least 15, maybe 20 minutes for an entry if that were to happen. Because what I would want to happen is, for if it does hold and go up, it's trying to, it's looking like it. Okay, then we'll wait for price to get up here and come back down and hold, and then we'll get a buy right here on this line. So it is looking like it's pushing up. Okay. And because of that, I'm just, this ain't a real account right here. So, I can play around and just practice or whatever. But since it is pushing up, okay, so now what we want to do is this. You just want to be patient, and you want to wait for price to get back down here, okay, to get a buy order. So let this go all the way up here, whatever, however high it goes, okay? And then we'll wait for price to come back down and, hold around this area for the buy. Okay, so let me go ahead and switch my other chart, because now I'm going to be moving, my buy on my other chart to, probably around this zone right here. Okay, because since we got above this 6 a.m. part, it's definitely, we can start to run all the way up into here. Okay, not right away, but throughout the next hour or so, 2 hours, that's going to be the trade. Okay, is just to let it keep running. And then if you do, like right here, let's go ahead and get this buy. Let's go ahead and get these buys. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so I got my buy. I'm in a buy. Okay, I got my stop under here at 800 now, okay? And so as long as price holds, okay, the zone now, since we broke above, we should continue upward. Okay, and if you look at the 15-minute candle, if you look at it, it's about to finish. This was the pre-market 15-minute. This is the second 15-minute. So this is definitely engulfed. Okay, and if you look closely, we got our stop. Okay, stop should be just under that, just under this, to give you some room. Okay, and now this thing should squeeze all the way up. Okay, and just keep riding. And this is your real kind of like cement floor here, where price comes down, it should boom, kind of hold and just keep flying up now. Wanted it to get under VWAP for the buy. It didn't get it. You know, we just started to run. It doesn't mean that it can't still get down there and get it. Okay. But this is your buy area right here. So if you are going to get into a trade, this is where you want to buy, right when it, you know, comes into here, into this zone, like so. Boom, 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 boom. And if you wanted to keep a tight stop, if you got, say you got 2 contracts now, right? You can put a stop right here, under here. Okay, you don't want it to go under here with your second contract. Okay, and then with this one, okay, you can put here. Okay, but typically in this situation, you know, we're gonna hold this area and keep plowing up. And if you don't, then it's gonna flush all the way back down to VWAP. But this is, I mean, you got to get it back above this zone. So if you are trading this and you don't feel comfortable holding multiple contracts, you could do what I just did. Okay, and you know, stop out, since we're kind of breaking under our 6 o'clock candle. If you have multiple contracts, okay, if you got one, I wouldn't close it out. I would let it ride, because you know, we are looking bullish. We did, you know, break above, but we just need to get that continuation. And you got 2 more minutes left exactly for the 15-minute candle to complete itself, for the confirmation on the TGIF strategy. Okay, so that's important. We like this, how it's holding this level and how we're getting back up above this dotted line is very important for the continuation upward. Okay, and that is very important. Okay, so if you listen to the video this morning, we said, okay, one scenario is, you know, market open, we can go up, we come down, we hold. This is where you buy. Okay, that's where we bought. And then now you can let just price ride all day till you get to, this could be a rejection area. Definitely around here, you're going to start rejecting, and you can hold into these zones, and that's it. And this is how you make, you know, you can make a good amount of money on this trade. You just got to be patient and hold, and then have your stop. You know, I got my stop right there, right there. Okay, and then you just let this thing ride, man. Let it ride all day long. Typically Fridays like to trend. Okay, so we can just slowly, the way it's moving so slow, we can just slowly start to trend, you know, upward like so. Okay, and now that we're in this VWAP band and this VWAP band, and price is moving nice and slow and good, this is like a easy, looking like a super easy day, super easy trade day. Then you know, you keep it moving now. You just let this thing just keep moving. And on each pullback, you know, you can add into your you can add into your buy. So on little pullbacks like this, when you come down and you touch on the 21 or you touch on your positive one VWAP band, okay, you can start to add, you know, contracts here and there and just let it go. But the first 15-minute pre-market candles form, and look, we are higher, much higher. So boom, that one's formed. We're much higher than this one. Okay, so according to this strategy, we go all the way up now for the rest of the day or into this zone. Okay, into this zone. And that's it. This was an easy, super easy textbook trading day right here. It doesn't get any easier than this. It's super easy. Okay. And this you just let ride, man, all day because price is just going to go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Okay. This is a day where you make back all your losses if you had losses this week. And you just let this thing ride, man. Let it take its time. It's got a nice pattern here, you know, to just keep rolling up here. And the only way that this is not going to work, okay, is if you break under here and then you keep breaking these levels and you can't get it back up above them. That's the only way that this thing, you know, won't pan out or work. But it's looking very strong and just, you know, looking like we're definitely just going to keep kind of grinding up and going all the way to the top. Now, if you're in multiple contracts, okay, you can always, you know, take profit at your zones and just keep one runner or one contract going at all times. And then you can take profits at, you know, certain levels where you can get rejection and then buy back down on the 21 moving average or the 50 moving average, which are always good places to buy when you're in an uptrend. Okay. And then they're also good places to get sells when you're in a downtrend as well. Okay. But prices expanding upward. We're above the 6 o'clock candle. Okay. This is your main kind of support level. Okay. And the further you get away from it, the stronger that this level becomes. Okay. So you want to hold above this level, you know, and you can even, as this price starts to expand upward, you can even start to move your stop too, you know, as it gets higher. So the Bollinger Bands are a good place of reference as well for taking profit and getting into contracts, because sometimes it's possible the price can even come all the way down close to the Bollinger or a little bit lower and then go back up. In this case, we wouldn't want that to happen because look, we would break below this key level. However, as the day starts to progress and these Bollinger Bands start to move, okay, above this level, just know price can do that. Okay. The Bollinger Bands are like overbought and oversold areas. So like overbought, oversold kind of short-term areas. And they act, you know, just like the VWAP bands. Okay. But as of right now, the buys are in. And as you can see, the VWAP band is expanding upward and everything's looking very, you know, pointing kind of upward in a good motion here. Okay. We got a nice, you know, size red candle at 24,000 almost 950, let's just say. And usually all the time around the 50s and the hundreds, you start to get some pullbacks. Okay. And this looks like a pullback area right here. It made like a little flat top. So it's possible, price gets down into here. And, once it keep, going up, once it kind of retouches this zone, it's kind of making this flat top. Okay. So if you wanted to take some profits, like that, and then move this down here to reback buy, some contracts, you can. Okay. Because this usually flat top right here indicates that it wants to come down a little more, get some more buyers and go. you know Typically that's what I see, in this situation. So unless it just powers up, let me move these. Don't want to get, maybe just leave one right there. There we go. Well, we broke over this top, so that's good. So as long as we hold over this little top right here now, okay, and we didn't fall down, then we can keep going upward now. Doom to doom. And that's it. Now you're hitting this rejection little zone that we had. But based on trend, based off the 6 a.m. candle, based off all of our analysis, this thing just keeps going up. Let me check my other page. Okay. I'm going to add a contract here. I just added a contract right there on my other page here. Okay. So I have one contract and another one added right here. If we can get, price gets back down here, guys. Okay. And that's it. And this is just going to be a slow grinder up today. Yes, we hit a little rejection area right here, but just because it rejects for temporarily doesn't mean it's going to just change direction. You got to remember that as long as we're above the 6 a.m. Candle, we're going to keep extending up into this zone today. 25,550, most likely into 25,700. Okay. And then we'll range right here today. Okay. And then after we get up here, this is where you just start the range. Okay. Because this is a very important level that we hold. If we're going to keep going upward, we need to hold above here. Okay. But into this zone, this is where you definitely want to be taking profits and selling, looking for sales. Okay. Definitely. This looks like a slow grinder up. I think one of these times we're going to get a big, nice push higher fast. Okay. But at this point in time, it's just looking like a nice slow grind, upward here. And hopefully we can get back down into this price or here and kind of bounce. And then I can load up some more contracts on my other accounts here. Hold on. All right, now I got 3 accounts. One account in a trade and 2 other accounts. Okay. Okay. Put some buys around here, guys, for my other accounts because this would be a good area to add some contracts. Okay. And then we keep this kind of this little short-term trend thing going. So So we did have actually a pretty nice little pullback right here at my zone. Okay. Um, which is normal. Okay, which is normal. Hold on. I need to make sure my other contracts are hitting. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Good. Okay, perfect. Got him. Okay, so good. This is a good retest area. We want to hold right here. And this is where you can load the boat. Load the boat on the demo. We're going to load the boat on the demo. We're going to load the boat on the demo. This is your good buy area right here, guys. So for all the people that didn't catch this right here, okay, everyone's loaded in right here, okay? Everybody's loaded in. I don't want to get stopped out. Let me move these down. Okay, and if you notice, look, we're coming down in here to the bottom of this Bollinger Band thing, like what we were just talking about, okay? Okay, hold on. Let me make sure my stop's not too close on my other accounts. Okay, so I got my stop here at, what is this? 89. Okay, this is where I have my stops on my other one. Since I'm in multiple contracts here, I'll leave a couple stops underneath this wick right here. Okay. However, guys, don't let this pullback scare you out of your position. Okay. It's just normal. As long as we're holding above this price right here, okay, that's why we have this key level here. As long as we're holding above this, we're going up, guys. Even if we drop down for quickly, maybe 10 seconds or so, not too long, underneath here, it's fine. But you got to get back up above when you drop and go up. You don't want to reject here. Like if we were to drop and reject, then I'm exiting all my other trades because I don't want to make that mistake and hold trades if we drop under here and can't get above this. This is totally normal, okay, to come back down, retest here, hold. That's why we have this line here, guys. Very important to have your zones where where you need to add kind of more contracts for this trade. That's why I had this zone right here to know like, okay, we can get a pullback right here, okay? That's why you have those things right there, guys. Okie dokie. And so right now, price is just doing what it's doing, and we're still in the buy. We're still in buys. It's not until you reject there. It's not until we get underneath here, okay, and we can't get back above. That's when you have a problem, guys. So right now we're still good. There's no issue, so don't worry. It's fine. Everything is beautiful. Okay. Now, if you do notice, Richard, the band's starting to expand and point downward, which can indicate that we may need to go a little bit more lower and get some buys before we can start to push up, okay? So that's all that's happening right here. Nothing to be alarmed of. It's only until you get underneath and you reject, and then you got some issues, okay? If that makes sense. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I guess I was over leveraged there. Now, on this rejection, if we can't get back above here, then we got a problem. Okay, so just know that. But because I was over margined on my demo, it took me out there. It took me out of that trade, but I re-entered and should be okay to go now. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Now, this is what we need to look for. Do we reject on this line? Because if we can't get back up above this line when we go, exit your trade. Because then we're probably going down to VWAP. Okay, you exit all your trades if we cannot get back up above this line here, guys. Okay, so okay, now this is key. This is key right here. Okay, we need to get back above that level or I'm exiting. All right. Now we want this candle to get above here, and we want it to get above here. This candle or the next candle, okay? But we don't want to start making lower lows from here, guys. Okay, we don't want to get under 800. We don't. Because if so, then this thing can come all the way back down here to VWAP or lower before we get a bounce. Okay, so being under this line is not good, and this making a lower high is not good. Okay, however, it doesn't eliminate this trade idea. It just means that we may want to come down here and maybe potentially bounce around here under VWAP. Okay, if it doesn't pop up right here. Okay, okay. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. I got stopped out on my other accounts. Now I'm gonna wait for another trade. Let me go to my chart. So now, at this point in time, guys, okay, we're under here, which is definitely not good for the movement up, okay? We broke under, let's go to the 15-minute. We're almost or breaking under the pre-market 15-minute candle right here. Okay. And so once you really engulf this pre-market candle, this thing is set to continue lower for sure. Okay, so keep that in mind. And in order for us to continue upward, guys, you have to get above this zone here and hold. So what I'm going to do is I will wait for price to get above here, come down, hold, and then at that point in time, re-enter long. But as of right now, it's definitely not looking long. It's looking like rejection here. Okay. And if that happens, then this whole trade can start to just head downward. That's it. And then we'll head, at this point in time, into these zones, maybe lower. Okay, so just wait and be patient. In a perfect easy trading day, and sometimes you get them, you don't break under here, and you just keep grinding up all day. It would have been a nice, beautiful long trade here. However, look, we came up 1, 2, 3 higher highs on the 1 minute, come down, and we just couldn't hold right here, guys. We just couldn't hold. So in this setup, sells are going to be the winner as of right now. Okay. But in this situation, since our first trade idea did not pan out perfectly, okay, and hopefully you took a little bit of profit into here on if you're in multiple contracts trading. So when you did get stopped out, you just kind of break even, kind of like what happened to me. Okay. And now we're just going to wait for the trade for the day, because at this point in time, we are holding above VWAP. We are making a higher low here, potentially, but you have to wait for confirmation to see. Okay, so this candle can confirm it if we don't make a lower low. So I will re-enter back in a buy on another contract and buys if this keeps a higher low. And then I put my stop right underneath this candle here. Okay, so you could do something like that. You could put your stop right here. Okay. But I wouldn't do it now. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. Do it when this candle completes. Okay. This candle completes and it remains above here, then you can do it and then put your stop right here. Okay, guys. That's how that's going to work. So this candle's almost done. There it goes. So now you could do it. Okay, now's the time to do it when it did that. Okay, and then you could put your stop right here. Okay, and if you reject right here, then you get out of this buy. So if you reject, if you can't keep going higher, exit out. Okay, because we are below here. So in order for us to hold this trade, you got to get above. Okay, you got to get above here. Okay. So right now we are in my mind, we are in potentially a selling trade. okay, for the hold long term if we can't get back above this zone, guys. Just know that. Okay, however, this could just be the come down retest, make a lower or a higher low, okay, above VWAP. I mean, we're still above VWAP, okay, but we're just not above this. And that's what's scary for me to be in buys long term until you get above this zone. So these are just going to be snipers, okay, snipers. This is just going to be sniper. Okay, and it's not until we bust past here that I'll re-enter buys on my accounts for the long-term hold, because we can still reject and keep flushing down from here. Okay, so what do? We came down, we waited for this candle to close higher than this. We put our stops here, and then now, we take profit right there. Okay, now we did get above that candle right there, so you can re-enter. Because we broke above here, that's why I re-entered the buy. And let me re-enter on my other account. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. So now, okay, since we didn't have a hard rejection here and we kind of cracked through this area, that gives me a little bit more hope now, and we're above VWAP, that this trade is going to continue upward, okay? But it's not until we fully get above here, okay, and we hold that this thing will continue upward. We have to get above this zone no matter what, okay? Have to, if we're going to continue up. It's definitely looking like it wants to. The overall pattern's looking good. Okay. A good add area will be right here. Okay. Now we did, get this rejection right here. Okay. However, if it's going to hold, we don't want it to break lower than here. Okay. If it's going to keep going up. Boom, boom, boom. Now, if you notice again, these bands are starting to get, smaller, and we're in this little range area, which when price gets into this, you start the range. Okay. But once we break out either below or above, that's where you're going to get your move. This is looking bearish, guys. This is starting to look bearish. Like this candle or this candle needs to go up. Otherwise, it's just going to flush down. This candle needs to get higher than here. Okay, or you can exit. If you don't feel comfortable, then you can exit. But just know these candles need to keep going upward. Okay. However, Only you can prevent wildfires. I'm gonna move this, since this is a demo, I'm gonna move this one under here and give that a little more room to breathe. Okay. A demo. Yeah, but as of right now, guys, until we get above here, market go down, okay? We are above VWAP, which is still gives us hope to keep going up, okay, as long as we're not below here. But look, we're getting close to it. So in this situation, okay, um, in this situation, just know, yeah, it can do that. We're rolling. So if I were to give this a percentage, I would say bullish, okay? The bullish percentage right now is like 62%. And then once we get above here, then, in my mind, 99.9%. Okay. And it's looking like we're making this W right here to keep going up, which is good. It just wanted to stop out these guys and then keep going. But we still did make a lower or a higher low to keep going up. And we're above VWAP. But the most important is you gotta get above there. You have to. Otherwise, it's a no-go. Okay, but it's looking definitely like it's going to now. I mean, it's looking like it's going to. But it hasn't yet. So just know until it gets above here and holds, we have a higher likely chance of going down. Okay, we gotta get above here. Got to. Okay. Now you had a rejection here and a rejection here. Okay. This candle is looking good. Like it wants to, power up here. So that's looking good for the power up. And I re-added here to try to get this trend to go back up in our direction. However, if we reject right here, exit all your trades because we're gonna head back. And it's looking almost, did we crack through? Almost. We need to get past this wick right here. Holding above the 50 right here is important. That's a good sign. The lower you go, obviously, the worse. Like that, you don't want to, keep dropping like that because then we could go down under VWAP. And or lower. That's looking good, these smaller candles. Okay, so you could add and then put a stop under here. Okay, if you're trading and you wanted to add your second contract. Okay. But we gotta break above here to keep this trend going up, guys. Have to. Otherwise, we come all the way back down until we hold support somewhere. It's trying. It's trying. That's why this zone, guys, mapping out this zone is so important. This is going to really tell you where the market's going to move. Okay. And so if you need to switch into sales, right around this area is where you want to do it if we reject. But boom, we powered up. It's going. Longs are going to go. And then this is when you want to add to your position. And now we can get this real move up into here now. Okay. Boom, we got it. And then you can just add. And we should hold above that line now. But if we don't and we reject and we get lower than here, then you want to exit your trades. Okay. You don't want to get lower than this area, guys. You want it to just keep going. Okay, we're above this level here. We don't want to get back down under here. I mean, you saw that this was a fake out. Okay, so also know that too. When you're trading, okay, this was the key zone. Boom, powered up. That was huge. Okay. Now, sometimes I do see it come and just kind of wick real quick, but you really don't want to be down here long, man. You just really, if you don't wick and go back up real quick, you tend to just fall right out. Okay. So it looks like we're trying to get a little rejection right here. You don't want that. You may want to come touch this line one more time before you really power. But I mean, you got to get above this zone too, guys. I mean, now that we broke here, this is the next one. Okay. As long as we hold above here, we're going to eventually get above it, but you don't want to drop below here. Okay, guys. You just don't want to do it. You just don't want to do it, man. Like that? No, that's what you don't want. See how hard that candle was? Exit. You see how hard that candle was right there? Yeah. Yeah, we don't like that. That candle was way, 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 way too hard right there, guys. That was a hard rejection. It doesn't mean that it can't go up, but what's it, 9:23? So we're almost 1 hour into trade and we're around the same price. The bands are starting to go sideways here. Okay. Which can definitely start to indicate like a sideways day. We're not getting any real moves, any real extension. So it could just be a sideways day. Like typically what happens when we're not getting these extensive moves, okay, if we don't hurry up and get like this move quick, because it's almost been an hour since open. And if we don't hurry up and start to bounce out and go, what will happen, guys, is we'll start to range between here and here, like this, before you get a move. And it's starting to look more and more like that at this point in time. Okay. So if we don't hurry up and move quickly upward, I'm telling you right now, you will range, okay, for a minute, until you get that big move, or unless you just range all day. Okay, so either you get this move coming, okay, either you get this move coming to go and start to press upward now, and you break above here and start running, or we range. Okay, so we got to get this move like now, quick. We have to start expanding away from this price, quick. This has to get above here, quick. You see those rejections? You don't want that. You have to start blowing through here and moving quickly, like so, to keep this thing going up. Break above. We got to break above there. You got to break above this line this time. Or we coming all the way back down again, guys. So just know that. Just know that. But we are back above here again. It's almost an hour. Okay. So that's the situation. The situation with the situation, guys. Okay. Look, it's stalling. I don't like that. It's not looking like it's got pop. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are we going to get some power? Okay. It did. It hopped above. Almost. It looks like it's about to hop above here and get going, guys. There it is. Let's go. Now you don't want this red candle to engulf here. I mean, you really don't. You really want to keep a higher, yeah, like that. You really don't want that. However, I mean, we are above here, so that's fine. But I mean, you really just wanted it to just squeeze up. But as long as we're above this level, we're good. We're eventually going to break through here. But you break under here again, exit, get into sells. That's looking good. There we go. Finally, for the move. Hopefully, this is the real move this time. There we go. Now you can add your stops under here, guys. Okay, because we should, if it's really gonna go, we should hold. You shouldn't hold. Shouldn't come back down under here. You should keep blowing up fairly quickly if you're gonna get a true, blow up. However, it's got back down under. Getting under this VWAP band is not good. You don't want to get under that. It looks like it's bouncing on our 9-day moving average and holding. Okay, so if this candle can hold it, that's good. It's definitely a slow goer this morning, very slow. So maybe you got to be a little more patient to let this trade develop. However, if we don't hold this 6 o'clock candle and we don't hurry up and start moving forward here, guys, it's going to be all the way back down, probably to lower negative 1 VWAP band, most likely, I think, if we can't hold. There's some volatility coming in here. If you notice, we're starting to hit this wall right here. So if we don't hurry up and plow through it, guys, we're just going to head down. Okay. So it has to like get moving here. Gotta get moving. Gotta get moving. Uh-huh. That looks a little weaker now. Starting to look a little weaker. The Bears are really trying to push this thing down, guys. The Bears they've been strong lately. However, it's barely holding, barely. And eventually there's going to be a big move like soon. I mean, I kind of feel it coming here. That's not a good candle to go up. That didn't look good. It needs to be like a huge green candle if you want to go from here, but it's just Come on. It's really trying to hold this zone, guys. There it goes. There we go. There's a little bit of hope. If you're in the long. Fired up, Buttercup. Okay. Are you going to get moving here? You get another rejection here on this purple line, guys. Shoot, this thing's going to shoot down fairly quickly. There it goes. There it goes, finally. Woo! Oh my gosh. You need to have that continuation, though. You just can't have a little baby pump. It needs to continue upward. Okay. And you want price to hold above this band. You don't want price going below that band now. You want it above for the continuation higher, guys. But as you notice, this level, I'm telling you, this level, okay, this is key to know where we're going for the day. Okay. So you start getting underneath this level, guys, it's not good. If we can't get above here now, okay, then it's not good. It's going to come back down. We have to keep holding this level, breaking above here. So what you don't want to happen is to come here and reject and then come back down. Okay. So now you're looking at this level and you're trying to figure out, okay, are we going to go higher than here? Okay. So also keep that in mind when you're trading. Okay, this key level. And then if you do blow past here, then you're going to get into here, all the way back up to our zone today. Okay. So it's already rejecting, which is an early sign of bearish momentum. Okay. So you don't want rejection candles that early, guys. Don't want it. Keep going. You don't want the rejection candle. You don't want the rejection candle. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I know. I got too many lines on the screen here, man, but they help me. They help me know if we're holding certain levels or not. They're just gauges for me, and they tell me a story, I guess. Like all these three lines, these moving averages, the 9, the 21, and the 50, I like to hold above them if we're going to keep the trend upward. The minute you drop below them, then you go to the next, zones. And same thing with these bigger zones here. If you can hold above these zones, you keep going up to the next one up here. This one we already rejected at this purple one. You see this purple band? That's why I have it. It was right here. That's why I have it right there, because look, you can know where to take profit, where it could potentially reject, come down, get more buyers. Because these were, past areas of rejection and support areas. And so they hold true, when you're floating around in the same price range. They continue to hold true. Okay, guys. So for today, it's really struggling to move higher. However, the bulls, the buyers are winning because one, we're above middle VWAP. And so as long as you're above middle VWAP, you go up. But it's just finding the right entry, okay, and where, it's going to hold. And hopefully it was right here, on this double kind of retest down here, and it holds, hopefully. However, like I said, if we can't get higher than this and we start to reject and we get back down under purple line, we're heading, back down to range. So those are things that you got to be looking for to gauge, okay? Because the minute we get up into here and we can't go higher and we come back down and we drop underneath this purple line, man, I already know most likely, we're going to then come to here and then to here and then, back down into these zones little by little. Okay, so that is pretty much, how this day is going to look like. And if you look here, okay, you don't want this M shape to form and to come all the way back down. Okay, so it comes here, rejects, you make it the letter M, and then boom, you flush down into this zone right here. Okay, and honestly, I thought, and I still think it can happen. It ain't, we haven't broke above here yet. I still think there's a lot of buyers right here, man, just waiting. And so that's probably why price is moving slow, because we haven't got into this zone yet to go up, is it possible that, you know, the little bit of buyers that we have here can keep pushing this thing up a little bit higher and keep the trend going? Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but if we can get down into here, I'm sure there's a lot of orders, you know, that are down here. And it's possible that price may want to come down into here first, you know, before we start to plow up. Okay. But we'll know that here very soon if we can't hold above this, you know, level and keep going. Okay. We're about to find out real quick, guys, the situation. Okay. So hopefully, you know, we get a W. You know, we get this wider W right here to go up, and we don't get this M shape to go down with the W in the middle right here. Boom, little W in the middle, M on the exterior of the pattern, you know, to go downward. Hopefully, that's not the case here. Okay, and we can just keep pushing price up. However, price is moving extremely slow. Okay, which typically tells you that price wants to go down lower to get these orders down here, guys. Okay, down here, it's very possible that that could happen. It's just not strong enough. Look, we're barely holding, like, exit, 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 you know. And honestly, right now, this is like a really crap trade day too, because there ain't no movement. Okay, there is like no movement, barely going, barely. There's a move. But for some reason, guys, I'm like, just my intuition is just, I kind of don't trust this move that much. Just so slow, so hesitating. Yeah, I'm gonna hit a sell, guys. I'm gonna put a stop here, and we're gonna ride it down into here and see if we can get this sell. This is for the bears, this is the sell zone right here. Okay, for the bears. Okay. The buyers just don't have no gumption, man. And I know we're above here, so we trend up as long as we're above here. You know, that's the rule of thumb, guys. Okay. That's the rule of thumb. So as long as we're above here, we trend up. And if you notice this, you see how small this stuff is getting right here? So there should be a big move. Okay. Let's see if we can get it. I just got back into a buy again to see if we can get this move. But nope, it didn't. It looks like the bears are in control here, guys. It really does. And I think that because if you look, this line is coming down and it's rejecting on this Bollinger Band like pretty hard right there, pretty hardcore. You know, it's not until you power above that band that you can start to get some real extension. But the more I look at this, the more of the M shape I'm starting to see here for the flush. There's a little bit of hope for the bulls. A little baby green candle. It's a little bit of hope. And that band is looking like it wants to extend out a little bit, kind of. But I did just enter a sell, guys. Okay. I did just enter a sell. This is a demo though, so it ain't nothing right now. Ain't nothing important right now. I'm not in any trades. I just waiting for a good setup. I don't see something that I like right now. And so let's see if, who wins this battle right here. Who is going to win this battle right here? Is it going to be the Bulls or the Bears? Now, if you're in a buy, okay, your buy should have been, down here where we made that evaluation, okay, on making higher lows. Okay, so all right, do the Bulls or the Bears win right here? If you are in a buy and you got them down here, okay, when we, held this higher low, okay, right now would be a good time to take profit, just in case. If you're in multiple contracts, I would take profit on all of them except one and leave a runner, just in case we can kind of blow through there like so. Okay, guys. So this could potentially be the rejection area. Okay. And you get the confirmation for sure if you can't hold above this purple line, because the minute you drop back into this zone, okay, underneath purple, then you start to come down. Okay, you'll come down here. Maybe if you're going to keep going upward, you'll bounce here. Okay, but if not, then you'll flush back down and I think into here. There's probably a lot of orders right here, guys, just waiting. Okay. So yeah, if I was in any buys right now, just get out, because it just, you should not be coming underneath here like that, So I wouldn't risk it. I would get out, take your profit. You got down here, you got this move, and just get out. Price is just moving too slow, or at least for me, at least for me, price is moving too slow. I don't like it like that. The Bears just really seem to be in control right now. And I feel like the liquidity is down here. And it's going to hunt the liquidity to be able to go higher, guys. So now that we dropped under here, yeah, we can just keep, coming down into this zone. Okay. Unless you get a very hard bounce right here and it pushes up strongly, but it needs to push strongly. It can't, yeah. It can't just do something like, it needs to like fire up, fast. But if it just does it like this little baby bounce, you ain't winning. the sellers are going to win. Yeah. So it comes down here. It does its little like this. It's just going to keep pushing down then. It needs to have a fire up or like quick. Now, if you are in a sell, you know, this is where you probably want to take a little bit of profit off the table. Okay, because you could get a bounce right there. Take a little bit of profit, add another one, exit that out. But it's going to flush. It's looking like a flush, man. You see how you didn't get a powerful bounce back up there like that, guys? Just had a feeling that it was going to do that. And another reason why I thought it was going to do that was because it's 9:51 and we haven't had like a big extensive move yet. And so it's like ranging, you know, in between these zones at this point in time until I think we get the liquidity down here to push it up, man. Honestly, I'm really starting to feel like that. And then look, we're starting to make the W in the middle and the M on the outside to flush downward. So, anyways, guys, I think if you're trading this, sales, we got underneath this VWAP band. We couldn't plow through it. You know, we're trying to hold on our very important zone here to keep going up. It just didn't have a hard bounce like I would like it to. So for me, sales is the way to go, guys. You know, and probably is going to come down here into these zones now. Okay. Sell, 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 sell. Okay, now this is your bounce zone. Actually, right here, this is your bounce. Like if you're gonna get a little bounce, guys. Okay, this is your bounce zone. Now let me move this line a little lower, like right there. What price is that at 24,733? Okay. Now, if you're gonna hold and bounce and go upward, this would be the ideal bounce zone. So you can take some profit right there, and it lines up perfectly with our VWAP. And I like to put it between here and here, okay? Like in the middle between here and here. That's just kind of what I see working. Look, we got back underneath here like I was thinking it was gonna do. Just because price was just moving way too slow, guys. And if you didn't get that big run up, that big push fast, that's why I thought this thing was just going to head back down. And before market even opened, and I was telling, you know, saying on the video that this is where the buyers are, man. They want to be like right around here, man. This is where we come down here, we hold, we get a confirmation that we hold, we make a higher low on your second to third 1 minute candle. Okay, sometimes fourth if need to be. And boom, then you ride that sucker all the way up. But you see how we're making this M shape? Yeah. W in the middle, M shape down. And it makes sense because we've been trending up all night. You know, could we hold this trend line? Yeah, we can hold it and keep going up. And ideally, you know, you're going to hold around this zone to keep going up. However, once you crack here, okay, then you get under VWAP. You're retesting this area for the third time. You flush right down through here, guys. Okay. So I hope that this is making sense to some of you guys. I hope this is making sense. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and just let me know what more I can explain for you guys. Okay. So, yeah, we just looking super bearish, guys. What a boring day. I think I'm gonna go hit the gym. Oh, yeah. Whew. Let me stand up. Oh. Get some push-ups in, get some stretches in, get the blood flowing. Drink some water. Okay. So, what a slow grinder day here today, guys. See if we can get that covered up a little better. Boom to boom. Tomb to tomb. Okay. Well, it's looking like it wants to keep going here, guys. Looks like we got back up above our our line again, which is telling me that we may want to keep this keep going up. Imagine that. Obviously, we got this little range right here, okay? We hop back up above our very important key level for the continuation to go higher, guys. I didn't think that was going to happen so quickly. However, it did. So it's definitely a good confirmation to keep this thing going higher, guys. Okay. So our rejection zone will be here. If it's going to reject and come back down lower. Okay. I mean, at this point in time, it should get a little higher than that, for sure. Should get a little higher than that, guys. A little higher than that. Okay. Yeah. There we go. That makes sense. Now, if we are going to reject, it's going to reject here and then keep coming down lower, okay? Just based off how everything's been moving lately, guys, I really think, that could be the situation. However, if we can move up quickly and move with some force here and plow up, then we could have that continuation move up higher to go higher for the bulls, baby, for the Bullaronis. What's up, my guy? What's up, bro? How you doing, bro, master?
shaking that VWAP over there?
The VWAP, baby. Yeah, I am checking the VWAP and the key levels and just kind of today.
Bro, were you trading late last night?
So just the demo. That was just basically what I'm trying to do is just always leave trades happening no matter what, whether it's a demo or
Oh, just have your thing always be live, essentially.
yeah, just to try to get viewers, man, to be like, oh look,
I
this
see
guy's
you.
always doing something here. Let me just check what he,
Slang it.
so. But I
Um,
got a message from YouTube. It was warning me. It said, listen, we may shut down your channel permanently if you're playing, like I was playing like music from like one of my apps, and it was like you can't play that
oh yeah, it
music.
was in the background. Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
I shut it off, and then I put on some other tunes, and they didn't give me a hard time with the other tunes that I was playing. So I'm like, okay, hopefully.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like all these credits and stuff. I've been up now for a full 30 hours.
Are you kidding
straight.
me? How do you stay up that much?
A lot of coffee.
Oh my gosh, bro. That's crazy.
A lot of coffee. Yeah. It's
That's not
I just
healthy.
wanna-
But I hope
No,
you're
it's-
okay. But you're young though too. But man, that's so tough.
no, I just took a year off of my life for sure.
A year, I don't know about that. You can always catch
Nah.
up on sleep, man. So hopefully you
Yeah,
can get
that's what
some
they
good
say.
sleep in this weekend, man.
Oh no, I'm for sure working, man.
Oh my
So I'm playing an interesting game right now. But I'm locked in. I see the goal. Let's just say that.
Mhm.
Reason why I called you, man, I came across some land in McKinney, and bro, there's a couple of times these homes over here in Fairview are so damn nice. First of all,
Mhm.
there's been a couple of times where I'm like, dude, if I was a general contractor or if I had just a hair bit more time, I would so build some badass like properties on some of this land out here. Perfect example by me, there's this $5 million lot, which is so crazy expensive. But it's not even about the lot size. It's about what the hell you build on there and if the market's going to react to it.
Mhm.
And if you know what the hell you're doing. And, you'll see a lot size that says 5 million, and it'll scare the hell out of somebody.
Mhm.
But that doesn't scare anybody if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, if you know how to, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm just like, bro, just some cash flow like that, man.
Well, also
I
you
gotta
can leverage banks too. Like if you're a developer or you're getting into that, field, you can leverage banks to help, buy that land, and then, you pay off those
You got a
loans.
good deal, bro. I just thought about this because you're looking at what, like, right at 4,000 square feet at 3,800.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you at with the square footage on your crib?
Well, count what I added on and everything. We're
Yeah, you can do
probably
that.
at like 30.
No, do it how you had it at first.
Okay,
first
yeah.
had
The first thing, I think it's like 37 or 3,800 square feet, like 3,750 or 3,850, like right around
We'll
there.
call it 3,800. And you did a few upgrades directly in the build, but real talk, like, because I think you paid like right at 800, right? I think you got it for even underneath that. I think you said 750.
Yeah, I think it was 7. Yeah, around like 7, like
And you got a
60 or
dope-ass
780 somewhere.
I know you were having some issues, when you were dealing with your other project. Did you sell that one in McKinney?
I did, yeah. We ended up selling McKinney. McKinney sold. I ended up selling my other ones in Tyler. I was able to get those sold. I took like $100K loss on those ones though.
You had some homes in Tyler?
I had 2 houses in Tyler.
I had no idea. Some small little ones.
Yep.
That's
So
crazy, dude.
yeah, I had 4 houses at one time. Too many houses, man.
Yeah, you just had them up for rent?
Well, we were renovating them, and my contractor, like my buddy, he
Yeah,
drug.
what's up with that? What's your experience with that stuff?
So like I have like I know some people to do, builds and stuff.
Of course.
But the one that I had do it going out there and doing it, man, he just, I was supposed to buy the houses. He was supposed to pay to renovate them and get everything, turned around. So the first house was supposed to be done in 6 months, and the second house was supposed to be done in about a year and a half, 2 years. And he was supposed to cover all those charges. Well, he ran out of money, and I was floating him to not only did I pay for the houses for cash, but I also had to start paying for him to, finish the projects and get the materials and finish the roof and remove trees
Dude,
and just, dude, it was like,
how much real
and
shit?
into 2 years, after 2 years of having the house, even more than 2 years of having both houses, not even one house got completed in that time. And so I just ended up telling him I need to just sell the houses and just get my cash out of it. And I took
Yeah.
like 100K loss or whatever. It was not good.
Bro, so like when you're doing your cleaning services, like
Mhm.
it was cash flowing a lot of bread, huh?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was
That's
doing like I
that's
think at
crazy.
one point, like man, there were months just off my cleaning business where I was um, profiting like 80. I think I had like an 80,000 month profit a few times, but I was on average 50, 60K profit a
Yeah,
month,
50 solid.
you know.
50 solid. I
Yeah.
mean, with 100K a month, you could definitely get the $5 million house for sure.
Oh, that's too big of a house for us, but yeah, I mean, you could.
No, I mean, I said the price, not the size.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. But no, I feel you, man. The reason why I'm always trying to learn and from either other people's successes or mistakes, whichever one it may be.
did you watch that
So
billionaire video?
no, man, I've been working, man.
Okay.
But I will of course check it out. I don't have any issues with
Dude, I learned
doing
some
that.
valuable things just watching some of his videos, man. Like I'm like, bro, that is so important to know. Like, wow, really got a lot of value.
What's one of the things?
Like one of the things is getting new customers. So basically,
Duh.
like, dude, he was like, bro, you want to get new customers? Okay, where do all the top people in your city hang out? If you know that all the, the big lawyers or the property managers or whatever go eat out at this restaurant every day at this time, and he's like, just putting yourself in proximity to where
obsess over that shit,
you're gonna get lucky, and just being around there, every day from 3 to 5 or
Okay,
whatever.
but hear me out though.
Mhm.
One of my favorite lines. Two of my favorite lines. There's a thin line between insanity and genius. Number one. Number two, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Mhm.
So while this guy says he's saying something that is super dope. It's like, hey, be physically in an area that
Your network is in, like the top people.
yeah.
Where do they hang
Now-
out in your city? Because there's always a hangout spot for where these, the attorney, like my dad and I, like all these lady attorneys always go to Albernays, bro. They love to go hang out at Albernays over there off the tollway or whatever. But there's certain
Oh, yeah.
spots and certain zones, where you're gonna find, those decision makers hanging out where they go hang out. But another important thing that he said was to get, like, say for my business, okay, I would want to get the information to like all the property managers and all the building owners, like their mailing address, and write hand written letters to these guys, just, telling them like, hey, I know who you are, would love to meet you, or, this property of yours is so nice, da da da, would love
I
to.
feel like that's.
to
I feel like that's. Does I'm gonna be honest with you.
hmm
I feel like that's like yes, but it's a step behind because
Well, he said his explanation is
Right.
everyone gets emails and they get bombarded with emails all the time. But at any time you get a handwritten letter from someone in your mail, like you always tend to read that, and like pay a little bit more attention to it.
oh no, that's a straight fact right there. That is a fact. Sometimes they try and bullshit and like fake the handwritten letter whenever they're talking about property taxes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But no, you're right on that. What I've learned too is it's kind of like the other approach, man. Like I'm not in a nutshell. Fuck asking. Like I'm going to ask because, but I'm going to ask when I know the ball is in my court because I don't want to hear shit. If that makes sense. Like I don't want to hear no. So what? For me to get my yes more often than not, I'm going to make sure the ball is in my court when I'm asking whatever the question is. I mean, I'm never asking. Back in the day, I used to do a Park Lane, like I would have a lot more females over than you've ever seen, but it's not about bragging about that. What a skill that I learned was you may not be the most attractive, the tallest, you may not have the best finances or anything, but be comfortable in conversation no matter what, because you're there to entertain yourself, right? That's kind of like what I was doing. And so because I was giving genuine compliments to people, mostly females, so whenever I got ready to ask for contact information, it didn't matter if they ever said no or not. I knew at the end of the day I was still going to get that contact information because of how grounded I was, and which means I had leverage. Like I'm in more control of this situation than you are, so it's just a matter of time before I get what I want. Now, I transferred that over a little bit into business because in music, let's say I wanted to work with Allen High School.
Mhm.
I can go up to Allen High School and say, "You guys compete, right?" It was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Let me do your cheerleading music. Here's a track I just did it. I don't know why I'm not using it." And then they hear it and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, like you're amazing," right? Like they would say, "You're great at what you do." But that's because I know I have a good product when I present it to them, it's already good. Like I have proof that what I'm doing is better than the average. So I'm approaching it with like legit confidence. And if I find out that I'm not going to get the answer that I want, I'm going to end up learning from that mistake, which makes me even more confident. Because at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, I'm still going to be right because I'm learning from it. So like I really do have full confidence in that shit. However, it's like make them come to you. How do you make people come to you when they're boring?
Alrighty. We are back in action. It's a slow grinder up, guys. Slow grinder. We are holding some nice levels. So obviously buys are the buyers are in control. Barely, but they're doing it. We're in these upper two bands to keep heading upward, into our 61.8% range. However, we could start to get pullbacks into this zone here today, but holding your buys should pay off, and buying on the 200, if you're not in a buy, buying on the 200 or the VWAP will be your best buy areas to enter in. If you are, or you could buy and then put your stops underneath here. Okay, because if we're going to keep going up and not have any pullbacks, you shouldn't break this zone here. Okay, you should hold there. Otherwise, you break this zone, you can start to get down into these lower areas here, guys. Okay. Into those lower zones.
Thanks for calling. What can I help you with today?
Speak to a representative.
I just need a little more information so I can get you to the right place. Which of these are you calling about? You can say payment plan, payoff information, payment history, or financial relief. Or say more options.
Payment history.
First, please say or enter your social security number. Just to confirm, that was 462-79-3134, is that right?
Yes.
Next, please say or enter your PIN. You can also say forgot my PIN or create a PIN. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Please say or enter your PIN. You can also say forgot my PIN or press 1 or create a PIN or. Thank you. Which of these would you like? A payment search, a list of payments, or a copy of a transfer?
Speak to a representative.
Let me transfer you to someone who can help. Your call is audio recorded. We estimate your wait time to be between 30 and 60 minutes. Wait on hold. We can call you back in the future. To receive a call back, press 1. While your call is transferred to our callback system. If your return call is 30 minutes or more, you may receive a text reminder. Press 1 to consent to receiving callback text updates from the IRS. Please enter the 10-digit phone number where you would like to receive the callback. We did not receive a valid response. Please enter the 10-digit phone number where you would like to receive the callback. You will receive your callback at 21423666767. If this is correct, press 1 to enter this number. You will receive your call back in 31 minutes from now. Please note, your call back will come from a West Virginia phone number with the area code 304. Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so May 19th. Mm-hmm. April 9th. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Move to a file. Move to trading videos. Boom. Got it. Now, Finder. Mm. 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 Oh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Oh, here we go. That's what we needed. Mm-hmm. April 9th. Okay. Okay. April 9th. Okay. April 9th. Hmm. Where's the other one though? Sheesh. What is this called? Pay 1040. Okay.
Thank you for calling the Internal Revenue Service. Para continuar en español, marque 9. Your call may be recorded to help us improve our service, so please do not include any personal details at this time. If you're calling for information about the One Big Beautiful Bill, say One Big Beautiful Bill. Otherwise, please tell us why you are calling.
Speak to a representative. I need to confirm my payment. I have receipts on, and so I just want to show y'all guys that I have them.
For information about the One Big Beautiful Bill, say One Big Beautiful Bill or press 1. For updates on your 2025 tax return, say Refund or press 2. For the status of your amended tax return, say Amended Return or press 3. Or for your tax or account history, say Transcript or press 4.
Speak to a representative.
I understand that you'd like to speak with a representative. In order to determine if I am able to transfer you, I first need to know the reason for your call. Now, for information about the One Big Beautiful Bill, say One Big Beautiful Bill or press 1. For updates on your 2025 tax return, say Refund or press 2. For the status of your amended tax return, say Amended Return or press 3. Or for your tax or account history, say Transcript or press 4. If you're calling for a different reason, I understand full sentences so you can say things like, can I make a payment plan? Or, I have a question about a notice. Or,
I have a question about a notice.
And please note, to return to the main menu at any point during this call, simply say, main menu, or press star. Now, is your notice about a refund, a balance due, or identity verification?
Balance due.
And do you agree with this notice?
No.
Is your notice about a payment plan, lien, or levy?
Speak to a representative.
For you. If your note... Sorry, let's try again. If your notice is about a payment plan, lien, or levy,
Yes.
Say no. Your call may be monitored for quality purposes. Please hold while your call is transferred. We estimate your wait time to be between 30 and 60 minutes. Be careful not to fall victim to IRS impersonation scams. The real IRS will not call, email, or text you to demand immediate payment, nor will we call you to tax your loan if they first haven't mailed you a bill. The IRS never calls asking for your credit card, debit card, or prepaid card information. So, for more information on how to report and protect yourself from tax scams and others, go to www.irs.gov. Tax scam. We apologize for the delay. Our customers are entering your receipt. Please no panic button. The next available representative will be with you as soon as possible.
Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, heal. Going back. SmokeyBear.com. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
One of the favorite times of the week, the Friday feedback section. Ashley, Lauren, here we go. First is from John. I enjoyed your take on how you could take the cold when you were younger, but it was whipping you in your old age. Thank you very much. When are you moving your show to Miami, Florida? I'd love to, but the answer is we're not going to do that. Would you like us to come down there, Ashley? Well, I'm in Tennessee, so I'm going with you. Okay. I would do Miami if we could, better than going to Huntsville. This is all rocking. Thanks to, we watched the Melania documentary in Western Colorado. Applause and renditions of YMCA that they broke out. Thanks very much for the message there. I loved it. Ashley, have you seen it yet? I have not, but I love Melania. I think she's incredibly classy, but I would look forward to seeing it. Laura.
Her style is impeccable. Haven't seen it yet, but I'm surprised about the YMCA because what didn't Melania tell Ainsley Earhart, she doesn't like when her
Yes.
husband does the
So she did say
YMCA.
that. Yeah, that's right.
Please stop. Go your head
There's
down.
also applause in the theatre when I went to see it. It was very well received. This is from Jim. I saw your segment about luxury watches. I just bought a new watch, a Casio. It cost me $21.95.
Good job.
Laura, do you have any fancy watch?
I used to, but I haven't worn a watch, not even a smartwatch, basically since the iPhone came out.
Ashley, what about you?
I have an Apple Watch, but I gotta tell you, I do like watches. So, but the expensive ones, sorry.
I don't wear a watch. I don't wear a watch, rings, bracelet, bangles, nothing. No adornment of any kind.
So maybe
No
that.
tattoos.
Naked, huh? Yeah, right. Okay, this is really Derek. Stu, I know you love to watch soccer games, but do you watch rugby games? And if you do, will you be watching the Six Nations Rugby Championship, which has just begun? Yes, I absolutely will. Thursday, France beat Ireland 36-14, and today, England plays Wales. I'll be watching.
Yes.
You're watching too, aren't you? Because you're a sports guy.
Well, my father was Welsh. He used to make me stand up with the national anthem in the living room. He was diehard rugby fan.
That's excellent. It all comes out in the Friday feedback. This is from Andreas. Hi, Varney. Love your show and watch or listen most days. Always informative. Check out the gas prices from
Very Nevada.
Bergen, Nevada compared to Truckee, California. Have we got a picture? Well, thanks to Gavin the Destroyer. Got a picture there?
There it is.
I can see that. That's
385.
where's that? That's Nevada. 385. And okay. Didn't quite get that one, except
It actually
that
dies.
considerably California and Nevada on the right. I think, yeah.
Actually, this
They destroy it. You don't wear glasses, do you?
I don't. Probably should, but maybe it's vanity. I tried contacts, but I just couldn't do it.
what about reading glasses, Ashley?
No, unless it's really tiny, then I borrow my wife's. But other than that,
Good.
we good along.
The two of us, we don't wear glasses, even if they're advanced self.
That must be nice. I'm blind as a bat.
But your glasses too. Seriously, folks, keep your Friday feedback coming. It's all good stuff. And here is the Friday trivia question. What is the official language of Nigeria? Is it Swahili? Is it Hausa? English? Swazi?
I know it too.
I know it too. The
Oh,
answer will be to
we're writing it all right.
Rob trusts Prevagen for his brain, and this is his story.
I'm Rob. I run a sanctuary for tigers in Southern California. I've been working with tigers for over 30 years. I found that I was taking various supplements for my physical health. I wanted to take something for my brain as well. After taking Prevagen, I felt more confident. I felt more in the moment. I stopped taking Prevagen for a while, and I noticed a difference. I got right back on it. Prevagen really works.
Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years.
He started to get very angry.
You're going to jail.
How much did he get from that?
Or I feel like there's a life-threatening amount of money.
Yeah. What you do is get into direct communication with the scammer. These scammers into a trap equivalent and confront those responsible. Looking for Jeffrey. He's better than a little slice of revenge.
Scam, getting even. Streaming now on Fox Nation.
I have a call. I have no choice in the phone. When I speak to him, answer.
Weather is part of the American story. Under stormy skies, down snowbanks, even in Liberty. From the first heat wave to the first frost, Fox Weather is there for you when the storm breaks.
Ricky had it here.
And after it passes,
There is a lot of work to get done, but there's hope to move forward.
we with you every step of the way.
I'm gonna go see if I can help us again.
For all seasons, for all America, Fox Weather.
Nick Saban took Alabama football to a new level. He retired.
No, And you come in, that's the best.
How you gonna trust somebody with my story? Y'all represent the everyone kid that can't come out. Why not let you win?
That's even fire. This is the legend to me.
Her life was bigger than any film. She knew just the power that she had. She stood up for her friends with quite a bit of courage. She died a hero. I don't think I'm reckless, but I am curious.
All new Cops Car Chases. Stop running. You have nowhere to go. It's going to be one wild ride. You get out on your belly. You crawl out. After another. Because it's a stolen car. And another. No. And another. Vehicle smoking. He's out for 3 tires right now. Cops Car Chases. All new on Fox Station. So buckle up. You don't want to get a ticket. You gotta take your head.
Will King. One guy, 2 hats. All heart.
Today, we keep Washington honest from the middle of America. This is a place where we dig deeper. I want to know the real story.
Watch and listen to the real deal.
The heart of the matter from the heart of America.
Watch the Will King Show live from Texas. Weekdays at 4 on the Fox News Channel. And listen anytime to Will King Country.
We are racing! You're so focused on rugby. Win championship games on. Road to the IndyCar Championship. Streaming now. We asked this question, and all 3 of us believe that we know the correct answer. What is the official language of Nigeria? Swahili, Hausa, English, or Swazi?
Should we all say it on the count of 3 at the same time?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, say the answer and say the name of the language in 3, 2, 1.
English.
No, it's not. English. No, it's English. No, it's
English. English.
It's English. Okay, the answer is English. Right. Nigeria is home to over 500 distinct languages, making one of the world's most multilingual nations. Therefore, you need English to wrap it all together.
Exactly.
Hausa is one of 500 languages. You can't have just one out of 500. So there you have it. We've got 10 seconds to go. It's been a terrific week, folks. I'm sorry about the selling on the stock market, but nonetheless, we've enjoyed it. That's it for us for the week. The Hot Money Crew tips it now.
All right, Stu, we got it. Thank you very much, sir. The world's tech giants are chasing AI dominance, and Wall Street can't decide if it's the end of software or the beginning of a huge CapEx bubble. Welcome to the Big Money Show. I'm Brian Brenner, along with my co-hosts Taylor Riggs, Lou Bassonese, Jackie DeAngelis, and with us for the hour, Fox Business. Welcome, sir.
Welcome to you. Thank you for
All right.
inviting me in.
Well, they say that you have to spend money to make money, and America's hyperscalers are putting that theory to the test. Amazon is the latest tech giant to announce it's pumping massive sums of money into building out AI infrastructure. The company says it plans to spend $200 billion in 2026, a much bigger number than investors expected. And it comes as stocks bounce back from fears that AI could disrupt the big software players. So, Dave, you kind of got this market that's, on the one hand, AI is great, it's going to kill software, it's the future. On the other hand, it's kind of saying, you guys are all spending too much on AI. You're a clear thinker. How do you read through all this lack of clarity?
I connected to, I think it's the same kind of division that we have on the economy itself. We have a lot of people who think that the economy's dragging down. A lot of people think it's never been better than it is right now. But with regard to what's happening in the market, Luke can give specifics, but I see opportunity right now because, for example, let's take Amazon. Yes, they're spending a lot more than people expected, but look what they are getting now. Look what they're just getting from the tax plan, the Trump tax plan. They're getting back billions and billions of dollars in savings because of what he did in terms of the immediate deduction of factories, of which they're building quite a few. That's where their money is going to be going. I look at NVIDIA. They still have, I mean, you cannot, I should mention, I have NVIDIA. I actually took a little more of it this week when it was going down because we just look at that 50% profit margin that they have now. How can you argue with a 50% profit margin? And looking into the future, it looks like it's going to go up from there. And that's a net profit margin, by the way. Gross is what, about 75%?
Yeah, I mean, it's extraordinary at 26 times earnings, and Walmart trades at 40. So you're a value investor in video, whatever.
I don't like all this talking up the
But let me just one final thing. The point of what's happening with the economy is exemplified, I think, by manufacturing. And you have these on the same day. The Wall Street Journal had two stories on manufacturing. One, U.S. manufacturing is in retreat, and two, the same day, this came out February 2nd, U.S. factory activity posts the fastest gains since 2022. I mean, I love the Wall Street Journal. I used to work there, but how is an investor supposed to make sense of that? Is manufacturing going great guns and about to have the biggest spurt in manufacturing history? Or is it shrinking because of all the terrorist stuff? People haven't made up their mind.
So more stuff to not be able to make sense of. Amazon says we're going to spend $200 billion on AI infrastructure. Market says we don't like that. Meta and Alphabet both kind of do the same thing, maybe not quite to the same magnitude, and the market loves what they're doing. So why all these disparities and how people feel about the spend? Does it depend on your core business? What is it?
I think it depends on the ROI. What's the return on the investment? And people haven't seen it yet, right? So we're waiting for that. We're building the railroad. We haven't sold any tickets for it yet, essentially. I mean, it's a big infrastructure build out. And you're not getting credit until you see it happen. But here's what I always point to. It's like, look at your personal checking account. Show me where you spend your money and I'll show you what you care about. Look at what the Nat 7 companies are spending their money on. And they're not saying like, oh, we're gonna put a little bit in here. 60 to 70 to 80% of their cash flow is going to this. They're not making that bet foolishly. They see that the demand is there and that they have a high likelihood of monetizing that in a very favorable way, a very profitable way. So I think to David's point, I'm a buyer here on these dips. They're showing time and time again, we're going to keep spending. Every time we think the estimates are too high, they go, no, we're spending more. This quarter alone, we added, 50, 60 billion for some of these individual names in additional spending on AI. That's real. That's not just chasing the fat.
Well, and I think what's interesting too, when we think about who knows the company, we're paying these CEOs to know what to do with the company. 10 years ago, we all screamed at Boeing because they wanted to do share buybacks instead of investing in their future. And the door of an airplane flies off, and all of a sudden, for 10 years, we've been looking back, and they're buying back stock instead of reinvesting in their R&D and their engineering team. So now I'm going to get mad at Amazon because they want to invest $200 billion in their future. The people at AWS have a near perfect track record of analyzing demand and capacity in the future. And now I'm going to sit here and criticize them and think that no, the track record in the past doesn't mean anything because I think you're overspending. They have a perfect track record. I am going to bet on them and bet on a CEO that I would argue, in most of the notes I've read today, the risk of underinvesting is much higher than the risk of overinvesting. And what if I were to say that $200 billion, Brian, it could have been the same amount, but we're just doing it faster and in a more narrow time frame. We're just pulling forward spend. Now, I don't know the ins and they're more profitable and revenue is accelerating this quarter than it was 2 quarters ago. Revenue is accelerated on multi-billion dollar company. And I don't want them to spend money on investments that they think the future. And that's kind of my campus. We can't play it with us. I can't get mad at them for not doing enough, but then get mad at Amazon for doing other times.
Let me check all that skill plate for you. Obviously, Nvidia's been close. Talking about that a lot. But I want to that's good. They also throw into this stew with because they shed apples it's part of this whole story, So does the market have a say outcome to you? Like the question is asking you, companies taking back, or do you feel like it's a lot better?
spent by the company in infrastructure investment in the future, and maybe some of the risk is playing out, right? Those stocks all got hammered because the worry is a little bit coming out here that these companies are all spent. Maybe they shouldn't all be spent and taking on debt, because what we're gonna find is that there are big winners and there are big losers. My guess is some of these next step guys are not going to be losers, but some of these little guys are. Talking about things like being reminiscent of they had the earnings potential of anything, and all of a sudden they were sky high, and next day they were crashing. So I think there was like a little bit of kind of wires crossing in this market between the credit story and the spend story. But when there is a nugget of something that matters on the credit side, they start to become sort of very cautious on everything else.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with it. I think there is a concerted effort to try to pick the top, find the hole in the argument that AI is just one way infrastructure spend that we've never seen, because if you look at the management, it's now around 2.5% of GDP. If we added up all the technology that has, including telecom and railway, they never amount to that level. So I think the scale of it scares people. But to your point, the credit markets in Oracle got beat up, and then they just got bond offers. They were very clear with the reason that you're seeing these bond offers go forward. They're $5 billion bond for second money and $13 billion. So I think again, it's 32 show me that the profits, and the next 7.5, we go back about 2.5 years and think about $100 billion profits. Now they're near $100 billion investments. We're turning into bottom line profits for the U.S. To your point, see that there's not just one winner or two winners, there's everyone's a winner, because this is a trend. You said we can't keep up with the entire thing.
The only caveat to that is, remember when that folks out looking out and they all got about the numbers, and that's when actually the market correctly forced them to stand and said, we're going to go collecting because you're wrong.
We have Representative on file. We'll get you to speak with you about that, Representative Franklin.
Yeah, who's the representative? My CPA?
Yeah, with any type of business, yes. Can we get with any type of business?
Okay. Yeah, you speak with me. I'm the they're mine, I guess. Yeah, it's fine.
What tax years is it okay for me to speak with you regarding? Without that representative?
Yeah, this is for 2024. Sure, it's 214-236-6767.